How's it going, everybody? Welcome to my first ever camera review video. It's going to be on the Ricoh GR III Street Edition camera, and I just want to make mention that I'm not affiliated with Ricoh in any way, nor am I a brand ambassador for them. So my opinion and review on this camera is just based on my experience having used this the past 6 weeks. So you may be asking me, why am I producing this review video on the Ricoh GR III Street Edition camera? Well, one, I've never did a review video before, and I thought I'd give it a try. Two, I just wanted to share my thoughts and feedbacks on the camera. I've never owned a GR camera prior to this. And three, I think it gives me an opportunity for others to see more of my work. So if you made it this far into the video, congratulations, thank you. If you're thinking about closing out because it's painful to look at me for this long or hear me talk, and you just want an opinion, a quick overview on the camera, well, basically, yeah, the camera's good. It's awesome. It's a great compact camera. Just put it in your pocket, jacket, fanny pack, no pressure. It's really great for street photography, landscapes, just anything really. It's basically, how do I say it? It's an iPhone on steroids. Let's talk about the camera design of the Ricoh GR III Street Edition camera. Very beautiful. I love the orange, gold, yellow ring around the lens, and then the asphalt design on the camera body. All of it is supposed to represent the streets, street pavement, street signs, and things like that. I think when you're thinking about trying to market towards street photographers, I think they did a great job on that and pretty much hit a home run with the design on this camera. The size of the Ricoh GR III Street Edition camera is very small, very light. It's not intimidating. It doesn't catch a lot of people's eyes. You can literally pretend you're shooting video, but instead you're taking photos of people out on the streets. One of the other cool things about this camera is that it powers on in under a second. Literally, they claim that it powers on in 0.8 seconds. Now, not having owned a GR camera before, one of the early hiccups or mistakes I did was not saving my settings under the user profiles. Anytime you make adjustments internally to your camera, for example, my first day shooting, I changed my recordings to output JPEG and RAW, and then I didn't save my settings, and at the end of the day when I offloaded my photos, it was all JPEG. So just remember, anytime you change the profile look, your formats, anything under the user profiles, to save your settings. So the press snap feature is where you can make a photo by just pressing the LCD screen instead of the shutter button. And the LCD screen is pretty sensitive. I took a photo by just covering my hand with my shirt and tapping the LCD screen, and it worked. It's a cute little feature to have, but I don't think it's necessary. And when I was using it, I just found it more difficult to try to make a picture touching the LCD screen because I was having some challenges just having the camera wrapped around my hand while trying to make a picture on the same hand. So for me, I had to use my other hand and tap the LCD screen to take the picture, and to me that it just felt weird and it just drew more attention, so I just turned that feature off. It was just easier to take a picture using the shutter button all on the same hand. I feel the press snap feature would be a little bit more useful or a lot more amplified if you were able to flip out the screen, the LCD screen, or you're able to tilt the LCD screen out like some other cameras. Then I think that's where the press snap feature can come into play. You know, if you're in a tight elevator with other people, or you know, you're in a subway or train, somewhere where it's a little bit crowded, even though we have social distancing going on. I think that's where you can be able to bring your camera down to your chest or your hip and flip out your LCD screen or roll it out and do the press snap feature that way. But other than that, if you have the camera up to your eye, and if you're able to do it with the size of your hand, take the picture and hold the camera all at the same time with one hand, great. But for me, it just didn't. It wasn't as helpful or useful to use this feature at all. So I was really impressed with the autofocus and face priority on this camera. I set my focus length to 1 meter, so anything 1 meter and beyond is most likely to be in focus. The one thing about this though, you gotta really push down on your shutter button to make that picture. If you just press it or tap it, it's gonna try to rack its focus, and that can get annoying and also drain your battery. So the battery life on this, it's a small battery and a small camera body, so you can't expect great battery life from this. From my experience, it lasts more or less an hour. And my first day using this, I was chimping a lot, meaning I was looking at my photos after I took a shot, and the battery lasted maybe about 40 minutes. I also had other features on, like auto review and press snap feature. So if you turn those features off and you don't chimp at your camera or your photos, you should last more or less an hour. So I definitely recommend you get more than one battery, especially if you shoot street and you shoot for more than a few hours. In regards to overheating, I've seen some comments online that the camera overheats. I had a few friends that mentioned that their camera's overheated, but for me, I've never experienced that yet, knock on wood, and hopefully it stays that way. So no overheating for me, at least not yet. Vlogging, video, I didn't test that part of the camera, but I did do this. So the Ricoh GR III street edition camera has numerous picture profiles, and my favorite one to use is the high contrast monochrome. I think that's one of the highlights of this camera is this particular picture profile. It's just fun to use, and your naked eye doesn't see that way. It's just a great way to work and great exercise to go out on the streets and take pictures using this picture profile. So one of the cool things about using one of the picture profiles is that you can bypass the editing process. or if you're just a lazy editor or you don't like to spend time editing your photos, you can just use the straight JPEGs from the camera and just upload them right away to your Instagram or whatever. Because when you upload the raw onto Photoshop, Lightroom, or whatever software you use, it's gonna go back to normal. It's not gonna have that picture profile to it. So to me, the picture profile, I mean, if you get your exposure and focus properly or to your likings, more than not, the straight JPEGs are more than good enough to use or to share with your friends or followers. So the price is a little bit high in my opinion. As we're recording this right now, the price is a little bit under $1,200, and to me that's a little bit high for really a compact camera. And I do understand it's a limited edition camera and all that. I think if they just took out video completely and made it $999, it would have been much more marketable. So that's the end of my review for the Ricoh GR III Street Edition camera. I would never recommend anybody to buy this camera based on my review. I would suggest you rent it out first or borrow it from a friend. But before I go, I have a question to the Ricoh team. When are you gonna make a GR with a pink ring?